So I'm learning Spanish and I have been experimenting with quite a few different resources. And in this video, I'm going to show you everything I'm currently using to learn Spanish. Basically, I'm using a combination of courses, books, apps, TV shows, and YouTube videos. But I'm not using all of them in the same way because some of them are for reading, some of them are for listening, some of them are for speaking, and some of them are just mainly helping me to get more exposure to Spanish every single day. So let's get into it. So the first resource I'm using is called Unlimited Spanish. Unlimited Spanish is an audio course and it is one of the main resources I'm using to improve my listening and my speaking. Each lesson is divided into 5 parts. In the first part, we have a very short and easy story. In the second, third, and fourth part, each sentence of that same story is read individually, followed by several questions, and you are supposed to answer each question out loud immediately after you hear those questions. Of course, at the end, the correct answer is given. In the fifth part, we have the same story, but this time using different grammatical structures. For example, we have the same story told in simple past tense, or in the future tense, or in third person, and so on. I listen to each lesson 4 to 5 times a day because repetition is really important in language learning. I think Unlimited Spanish is the best course for learning Spanish. The second course I'm using is called Pimsleur Spanish. This one is also an audio course. Each lesson starts with a short conversation and then the speaker breaks down every single word, every single phrase, and every single sentence so that you get to understand everything. And of course, you are required to repeat every word, every sentence, and answer every question out loud. So, with these 2 courses, you are not just practicing and improving your listening, you are also practicing and improving your speaking. And gradually, you learn to answer each question almost instantly and effortlessly. Okay, let's move on to the next. The third resource I'm using is called Assimil Spanish. In Assimil, each lesson begins with a conversation plus the English translation of that conversation, followed by some notes on Spanish pronunciation and Spanish grammar rules. And after that, we have some exercises to practice what we have learned in that lesson. I study one lesson from Assimil in a week. So I repeat and review the same lesson for 7 days before moving on to the next lesson. The fourth resource that I'm using is called Extra Spanish. Extra Spanish is probably one of the most fun resources on my list. If you have never seen it, Extra Spanish is basically a sitcom created specifically for language learners. And it is designed to be easier to understand than, native level TV shows. And I really love this kind of input because eventually I want to be able to watch Spanish content, Spanish TV shows, and Spanish movies. And I think it's really useful to start getting used to it right from the beginning. When watching Extra Spanish, my goal is not to understand every single word, but I just want to understand the situation and follow the story. That's it. Resource number 5 is a book called Easy Spanish Reader. Easy Spanish Reader is a book that beginners in Spanish can almost read it from the very first days of starting Spanish. It uses elementary vocabulary and keeps verb tenses to a minimum. Each reading section is followed by some activities, and the meaning of new and unfamiliar words are given in the text. Resource number 6 for learning Spanish are YouTube videos. And literally, there are so many amazing Spanish learning channels on YouTube. I use YouTube for different kinds of input. Sometimes I watch videos specifically made for Spanish learners, and sometimes I watch videos about topics that I'm genuinely interested in. I think YouTube is an amazing tool that can be used to learn any language. Resource number 7 that I use for learning Spanish is actually an app called Fast Lingo. Actually, I'm not a big fan of language learning apps, but this one, Fast Lingo, is a really good one for learning Spanish. So definitely give it a try and let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. So these are my Spanish learning resources that I use on a daily basis. What resources do you recommend for learning Spanish? Comment them down below. Spanish is one of my most favorite languages, and I'm documenting my Spanish learning journey here on this channel. My 30-day Spanish progress video is coming up soon, so stay tuned. See you in the next video.